Welcome to session 3 of Teaching to the T, Teaching Technology. We were working in session 2 on Read 180, iReady, USA Test Prep. So now we're going to move from those diagnostic software programs, those types of programs, into a few programs that are going to help you with that data-driven, student-centered, and 100% student engagement. Okay? So how do we create this data-driven environment? How do we do this? How do we engage all students and move to the student-centered platform? How are we going to get there? One of the ways that we're going to get there is by offering the students multiple platforms to stay engaged. I want to take a minute to find out what you all thought about Read 180, iReady, USA Test Prep. I know Ms. Weeks was using USA Test Prep, and Ms. Bostic, you were using USA Test Prep and iReady. If you could go to this tiny URL and jot down a few ideas for me. I'm going to give you a few seconds just to type in the tiny URL. I want to get some feedback about what you think worked and what didn't. And this platform right here, this Padlet platform, is an excellent tool for formative assessment. You can access prior knowledge. You can find out where the student is. You can use it in the middle of a lesson, find out how far they are away from mastery. You can even put an open-ended question up here, and the student will be able to answer the question. So I like using Padlet. The students love seeing the other students' comments pop up there. If you're not familiar with Padlet, you just click the plus sign over there in the corner, and then you're able to start typing. So I will review your comments at the end of this session, and I will address those as we go. The next thing that I want to talk about is, keep in mind, when we're moving to the data-driven environment, student engagement, we're not talking about one standard in TEKS. You can very easily cover 4 or 5 standards if you are using technology and the student is engaged and you're using it effectively in your planning. I have created for you a list of cool tools. I call them cool tools. I'm just going to go over 3 new tools with you today. But I have this list for you, and they're all free. Let's go through 3 right now. The first one that I want to talk about is Quizlet. I have been using Quizlet from the beginning of the school year because every time we introduce content to a student, we want to make sure that we're addressing the vocabulary of that content. Students love Quizlet. They're able to do flashcards. Then we can add some more rigor and make them actually write the definition. They can hear the sound of all the words, so there's an audio version. And then they can test. I don't use this test as summative because there are ways that the students have learned how to cheat. But it's very effective for remediation and acceleration, and I want to show you how it's so effective. If you go into options and you click on options, you can go and tap any student on the shoulder and say, Ms. Weeks, I would like for you to do written and only written. And I would like for you to do 30 out of 67 or 20 out of 67. You're selecting for them after they've had an opportunity to practice. You go to another student and you're doing remediation, you might let them do true and false and matching. So one program, and you are able to differentiate in real time with every student. Every student. I like Quizlet because if you use the test as a diagnostic or as formative, you can download the information into Quizlet. You're able to download the information into Quizlet. And you have real-time data. And you can address every single student and find out exactly where they are. Okay. The next program that I want to share with you is called Nearpod. Nearpod is an excellent program because you're able to have every student work through at their own pace whatever the content is for that particular day. This content was a unit of study in a reading workshop. So I actually loaded the entire article. You can easily chunk this article and only work with specific paragraphs or specific standard. I loaded the entire article for this one because I wanted them to be able to go back and find the evidence about this person's particular character. This was at the end, not at the beginning. They were able to create their own anchor chart, and you can leave a blank space in Nearpod for them to create their own anchor charts and to do some collaboration online. So Nearpod is completely student-centered because they can work through this at their own pace. I'm going to say yes here on this collaboration board for Nearpod. Okay, it seems to be frozen. Okay, this slide is a collaborative board. There we go. Character traits, your novel, your character. You can put an open-ended question in here, and the student is moving at their own pace. You go in and you're able to read this information, and first of all, you know whether the student is actually reading the novel. If it's social study, you know if they've actually read the content based on the question that you're presenting on the collaborative board. If someone is struggling, they can actually see what other students are writing. You can make sure very easily that they're not copying the other students' work. Okay? So Nearpod is a very effective tool because you can put polls, you can create a quiz, and the data drops into an Excel spreadsheet. You've got real-time data, and the students are completely engaged. The last one that I want to show you is Edpuzzle. Edpuzzle is extremely effective because that one isn't opening. Edpuzzle is extremely effective because you're actually able to pull a YouTube, any video from the internet. You're able to pull any video from the internet, and you're able to add your own questions to it. Edpuzzle works for every content area. You have every content available to you, and you can use it as remediation or acceleration because you can select information from 6th grade, 7th grade, 8th grade. Let's go take a look at what the student would see in Edpuzzle. I'm going to go ahead and start this because I want you to see what the student sees and how you can use this as a formative or a summative assessment.
Or what do you really mean? Figurative language is language that creates a picture in your mind to give you a better understanding of an idea. Whenever you say something and mean more than exactly what the words themselves mean, you're probably using figurative language. Today we'll be looking at 6 common types of figurative language
what you see here is the video was stopped here, and now the student has to answer questions. And as they answer, they submit, and the video will progress forward. They're able to move forward. What Edpuzzle does is you can put your questions in here, and the questions can get progressively more difficult. You can add your rigor as the video goes. This can be used as a summative. You can end this with an open-ended question. It's real time. The students love it because a lot of the videos are relevant information. We've got pop stars. These are people that they know. These are people that they understand. More importantly, if you really want to use Edpuzzle for student-centered, have the students create their own video about a particular content area. You upload the video through the YouTube channel, and now you have students talking, student voice, and you're adding questions based on the content that they gave you. You can end with critical thinking. So Edpuzzle will provide you with your data, it will provide you with your student engagement, and it will provide you with that 100% student-centered environment. The last thing that I want to go through is the ability for every teacher.
Teachers, please pardon the interruption. Bree Shea Rosser, please report to the front office for checkout. Bree Shea Rosser, please report to the front office for checkout. Thank you.
Okay, so I'm going to finish up the presentation, and I'm going to show you how now we're going to move through here. So we're going to turn the classroom into a student-centered environment. Okay, so I want to thank you. I promised you you'd only be here for a short period of time. I put some Post-its on your agendas. So if you would take a few minutes, fill out your Post-it, and put it on the Session 2 poster board for me. Give me an idea, what would you like to see for the next session? What would you like to see more of? Would you like to do another session on Nearpod or Quizlet? Let me know what you're thinking, and I will look at all the Post-its, and I will be able to get back with you, and we will address that in our next session. We'll probably go through a few more cool tools. You guys have any questions? Yes, thank you. That's a good question. That is a good question. The question was, is Nearpod free? Can the students use Nearpod to create their own? And the answer is yes. Students can actually create their own Quizlet. You can have them create their own flashcards. They can create their own Nearpod. And they can create their own Edpuzzle.